providing that story of what that experience is. And I think, there's quite, I imagine in many communities that that's not an unusual experience, but it is something that they can kind of, subtly allude to as far as being first gen, and it just in their various opportunities on the application kind of describe and talk about that experience.
Sure. Yeah. Any other examples of struggling ideas that you're trying to help your students grasp as far as identity or being new to the country, those kind of things, versus the flip side of my question was, can you think of some great activities that some of your students have shown that have probably helped them get into some of these colleges?
I would say, as far as activities, if they do want to show connection to their culture, whether or not they think of themselves as a first-gen student, I've had students do like traditional Indian dancing or Chinese folklore dancing for Chinese students. Right. And that's been a really great way for some of them to explain what their culture means to them, even though they grew up here. And the particular kids I'm thinking of were very high achieving and got into some really excellent places, not necessarily because of that, but I think it was a way to show that they didn't just, come here and go through the motions of American high school, and they still have that, their roots that they're close to.
Perfect. Yeah. Perfect. Any other examples maybe that you can think of that relates to any of this? But because I think we have a unique challenge in front of us, is because they are first gen, but we all know that they're not coming from the experience of first gen. They come from a lot of education experience, a lot, believe it or not, right? I mean, that's how they got to this country, is they have propelled through India and gotten all the skills they need to come over here and do well. And that doesn't always happen when you're an immigrant, right? That's the challenge.
I would separate the economic from the social capital.
Sure.
Yeah.
Thinking of SES. And so even though someone might have even the social capital from whatever country they're coming from, they don't have the social capital here. Sure. And being able to try to explain that in a way that is a disadvantage. They don't have people that have gone to all of these institutions. They know exactly how it works. Not that anyone just can pull a lever and they get in, but sure, knowing there are some levers that help, and they don't have that. So I think that could be a way to explain it.
Right. Yeah, that's a great point, because the knowledge and the confidence, I think, is not necessarily there in a lot of these students. Even though I think parents may have some confidence and may have some experiences that would have elevated them in the past. But that's part of the challenge, is sharing what is it like to take advantage of being in charge of your whole resume and not having mom and dad tell you what to do. Yeah. Or even knowing what to do because you've never been here, and maybe your parents don't understand that because it was all test-based acceptance in their old school. Think about what our topics are in webinars. Think differently about getting into selective high top schools, et cetera, et cetera. That is our topic. And that's where the perspective of the Indian Americans are coming from, but we're trying to demystify the fact that, it's not about test scores. It's not about sitting in front of your book 12 hours a week and studying. It's about getting out of that and leaving. I would say this over and over again: leave your comfort zone. Don't do things that are on your campus, because then you're going to be compared to everyone else on your campus who has those same exact traits. Do something different. Be the self-starter, right? And I think that's the challenge, is that's the social capital that maybe we are looking more for, is gain these little small, skills that are bringing you to leadership, or bringing these self-starter skills. We're teaching those so that they understand how to compete with the rest of populations that already know this because their parents already went to Yale. Have you guys seen the Raj versus Kyle video?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you guys have seen that, right? The UC Easy made a video, Raj versus Kyle. Kyle, his parents went to Yale. Raj, new to the country, doesn't have those social tools to get to that next level. Whereas Kyle doesn't need to do anything other than just do his best. And he already has that social capital and of course the money to get him to these next levels of schools. And that's the dilemma we face, is how do we get the Raj of the world to that next level by offering, you know, balanced lifestyle, mental health, as don't stress yourself, and then you can't become that student that you truly want to be. You know, throwing in activities that are not just everyone else's activities, but more of what makes you unique. What are you passionate about? What are you enjoying? Right? Don't just do it to do it because we tell you to. You're doing it because you want to. So, right, and that's, I think, kind of the challenge. And this is, of course, just a start today, is thinking of this. And my analogy is that if you take a circle, a large circle, there's the inner, and then there are the layers outside. My analogy for extracurricular activities is, if you're in the circle, which is your home, Fremont, Cupertino, whatever, if you are here in terms of how you think, or what you do in terms of, we all know that people do, let's say National Honor Society as being that one thing that everyone covets, or I'm part of this club or whatnot. Well, you're still, unfortunately, in my opinion, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, you're still in that minor circle in the middle. You have not gotten out and branched out, right? So that's why I use circle of comfort as my analogy, is somehow we have to help them use the social capital that they don't know about. But we can help provide that to them so that they leave their comfort zone and they think larger scale, global, of helping the individual next to them, or teaching people something that they don't have, or sharing resources. Because National Honor Society at the high school level is great, but are they far reaching, in my opinion? I went to a private school, and no, not at all. They were not far reaching. How do you take National Honor Society and get it to the next level? Individually, not as a group, right? So that's kind of what we are hoping to kind of think about. And that's why thank you very much for coming, because you guys are actually the first people that we've discussed this with. Is we're trying to make it, hey, we want our students to think outside of the box. What does that look like, tangibly speaking? And we're trying to add these tools to the dashboard that counselors use, as tools to get you to the next level in terms of guiding the students, and thinking in terms of, I know they want to go to high selective schools. How can we help them get there without stressing them out also, right? We don't want to compound the stress. We want to take it away, but knowing that there has to be stress, what can we do in terms of extracurricular activities? Does that seem like you as far as a clear mission of where we're going?
Yeah.
Yeah. So and some of you guys will notice, you guys can chime into any of these email threads. I've shared some documents too, and I'll try to share them with you again. You can put down all your notes, your best practices, or your critiques, or your preferences or whatnot on what we want to talk about next time. This is more of a collaboration, right? That's why we're trying to start it. And this has been, I think, the second or third time that we've done it. So think of this as collaboration. If you think you want some clarification on something, ask it. You know, if you think, oh, here's a great idea, Nicole, you shared with us some great resources last time, right? All these things help us not only in our public life, but we're thinking more of the UC Easy lives that we're in, right? How do we help them do all these different things that I know are on their minds, but probably stress them out quite a bit? And we're trying to lower that, right? So as far as closing remarks or comments, can you guys think of anything that you want to share or say or ask for as far as support for next time? Or just final comments, whatever you guys think is important.
I guess for me, two quick things. I mean, this was very helpful. I look forward to being able to chat like this and learn, especially since I think one of the few not in California. You know, that bit of information, you know, I'm much less knowledgeable about the very technical aspects of some of those applications. And, you know, if I'm working with someone, and that's a main key, like they really need to make sure that they're hitting those, you know, I would probably ask them to get in touch with one of y'all as I'm learning more of those technical aspects. I'm focusing more on the large picture, like the extracurriculars, like these other pieces. So, you know, I'm sure I will reach out to folks and draw on your expertise in those ways.
And we all have different experiences, and that's why we're here today, is there's no right way to do this, but we're trying to come to a collaborative way of saying, hey, these might be some good practices.
Yes, thank you.
Right? Yeah. Anyone else before we depart for the day?
Oh, I just wanted to mention, I saw this the other day, and I've never attended one, but I saw that they were coming to California. It's like these 5 colleges, Notre Dame, UVA, WashU, Johns Hopkins, and Emory, are doing this thing in California with admissions folks over there.
Yeah.
So you're on that? Okay. I just wanted to mention it to the group just in case I hadn't seen it, if it's helpful for folks.
Yeah, that could be very helpful too.
Berkeley, San Jose on 5/22, and Berkeley on 5/23, Sacramento on 5/24.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Very good. Yeah, that is helpful. And we like to share these things with students too, if there are student opportunities as well.
Okay, so this would be something just throw on in the thread.
Yeah, you could throw in the thread. Like, is it for counselors? Because sometimes there are counselor breakfasts with these colleges, or is it more? Is it student opportunity as well?
It looks like for you and your parents, so student and families. It looks like.
Oh, cool. Yeah, no, that you could just throw that in the thread, and then BK can put it on the website or whatnot.
Okay.
Yeah, stuff like that those are the resources that we're trying to share. You know what I mean? So that's great. Right. Or like I read some articles about this school's acceptance rate and what got them. You know what I mean? Sharing that information to provide insight on how we can kind of help our families, understand better.
Okay.
Cool.
Perfect. Anything else?
No, it's great to meet all of you. This was super helpful.
Right.
And keep in mind, actually, these are supposed to be counselor-led. So if you guys ever want to, like Nicole helped us last time lead on college selection. So if you guys have a topic that is valuable and useful for you guys, and you feel like, you know what, and I'm going to put Kelly on the spot. Sorry, Kelly. We work with a lot of our international students. So every time I'm thinking, oh my goodness, international student, the one who's been here for maybe a year or two. Well, I think Kelly, right? So then, you know what I mean? If you want to share some perspectives and approaches and, you know what I mean? I don't have that experience. So right there, Kelly's a resource. Mm-hmm. So I think if you guys feel like you can be a resource or want to start something, let's do it. Just let me know, and then we can start it back up and say, today we're going to talk about how to provide resources to our first generation and kind of put a different lens on how they write their essays from a first generation standpoint that we were talking about today. Maybe those are useful.
Cool. Now, do you mean international as in they arrived in the country in 10th grade, or they've been here and they're looking to apply to international schools?
No,
they've arrived. They spent freshman, sophomore year in India. They come here as juniors.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, I would love to run something about the other side of that is students looking to apply abroad. I'm trying to kind of specialize in that, and I would love to learn from other people who have been doing that.
And that's the stuff. And maybe it's athletic scholarships, or I mean, I know that may not be a huge topic, but topics that are relevant to helping our students. What is it like to play a sport that's non-traditional baseball and basketball? You know what I mean? And that I don't have answers to. I'm just throwing ideas out there because we want to share and say, hey, you know what? We may get one of these corner cases. We have to help the student. So let's be more knowledgeable. You know what I mean? That's our goal. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. And feel free to chime into those threads as much as you'd like, and then share. So whatever works for you guys. And then, if our next one is June or July, maybe July, let's come up with a topic. If you guys all can vote, come up with a topic and say, you know what, let's discuss this one. Right? Coursework selection, for example, a huge topic. You know what I mean? So whatever you guys think is important next, just let me know, and we'll shoot it out there and have that topic again and that discussion. Okay?
Sounds good.
All right, guys. You have a great Saturday. Thank you very much for chiming in. You should see some kind of a report soon just to see what we can do all together in terms of extracurricular strategy.
Sounds great.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thanks.
Bye. Good Sunday.
Bye.
Bye.